back in July, I wrote an article, an op-ed, titled "Death is Their Strategy." In fact, I'm tweeting it right now just so you can follow along with me if you're inclined. And, pretty straightforward thing, saying basically the Republicans are going to use keep in mind, this is several months ago, back in early July, in fact, I think it was July 2nd, saying that the Republicans are going to use death as a way to try to prevail politically in the United States. Now, how does that work? Well, if you can keep the pandemic going, if you can keep people getting sick, if you can keep the hospitals overwhelmed, then you're going to keep people in their homes. If you can keep people from getting vaccinated, everybody's going to know the virus is running rampant out there. Who wants to go to the store? Nobody wants to go to the restaurant or the theater. And this was the Republican strategy. It has been since January 20th. Was keep the economy down. Now, why would they want to keep the economy down by keeping the virus active? Very simple. The one single variable, and you can see this literally throughout all of American history, the one single variable that determines which party controls Congress and which party controls the White House, who wins elections and who loses elections, is the economy. When the economy's doing well, the party in power prospers and gets more votes and gets reelected, and they get more political power. When the economy sucks, the party in power loses election. This is so much a truth that when Donald Trump was president, even though the economy during Trump's first 3 years, when it was at its best, was not as good as the Obama economy, right? The Obama economy the last 4 years of Obama's presidency did way better than Trump's. Trump presided over a softening of the economy, but it was still doing well. But it was softer than it was during Obama. But nonetheless, Trump came out and lied about that. And all the Republicans around him lied about it. And the right-wing media lied about it and said, oh, this is the best economy ever. Why would they lie about it? Because they know that that's what people vote. Now, back in July when I wrote this op-ed, and I just laid it out, I said, how can you conclude anything other than the fact that the Republicans want more dead Americans? I asked the question, why did Trump get vaccinated in secret after Biden won the election and his January 6th coup failed? Why did he get arrested? Why did he get vaccinated in secret? Why are Fox News personalities discouraging people from getting vaccinated while refusing to say if they themselves are vaccinated? Like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Why was one of the biggest applause lines at CPAC, and I'm quoting, the government was hoping that they could sort of sucker 90% of the population into getting vaccinated, and it isn't happening. And the crowd went wild. Yeah, 90% of us are not getting vaccinated. Why are Republican legislatures in states around the country passing laws that would ban private businesses from asking for proof of vaccination? Why? Why would they do this if they don't want more people to die? Can you give me one single possible reason? Why, when President Biden suggested sending volunteers door to door into low vaccination communities to simply pass out literature to let people know where they could get vaccinated, did the right-wing media go nuts with this whole, government thugs are coming to your door to force vaccines on you? They got so hysterical about it, Biden had to pull back the plan. Why? Why did they want to scare people about vaccines? Why is it that about half of all the Republicans in Congress to this day refuse to say whether they're vaccinated or not? Why did Republican Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota downplay the dangers of COVID by bragging that she never shut her state down? How is this bragging rights when South Dakota, her state, has 230 COVID deaths per 100,000 people? And here, we're at 41 COVID deaths, 66 COVID deaths per 100,000 people. We're at 66. She's at 230, and she's bragging? She killed 4 times as many people as the governor of Oregon did? or oversaw a government where 4 times as many people died? Yes, she's bragging about it. Kristi Noem in South Dakota, she's bragging about it. Because death is their strategy. And I predicted back in July that if they keep doing this, if they can keep this virus active, if they can continue to prevent Americans from getting vaccinated, that you're going to see the economy go to hell. And sure enough, the numbers are out today. This is from today's Washington Post. The U.S. economy grew at an annual rate of 2% in the third quarter, and the latest sign of how the recent Delta variant of the coronavirus held back the economic recovery. The GDP figures for July through September, released Thursday by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, today, came in far lower than the booming 6.7% growth in the previous quarter, reflecting an economy struggling anew. Between the second and third quarter, growth in spending on food services and accommodations slowed significantly as people avoided the indoor spaces and canceled vacations. Why? Because the Republicans have prevented Biden from getting a handle on COVID. Washington Post, that spilled over into the job market for service sector workers who had their hours cut or stayed home out of fear of the virus. See, the Republican plan is working perfectly. Keep the economy down, people will be upset, and they will not vote for Democrats in 2022. The Washington Post notes where the pandemic goes, the economy goes. And it's true. Death is their strategy. So I guess the question becomes, what do we do about this? It seems to me that, this may be transient if President Biden is not stopped in his vaccine mandates. Now, you've got states that are saying, oh, you can't do this, and it's Texas outlawed vaccine mandates. They outlawed corporations complying with federal law. I'm not sure you can do that. I mean, theoretically, you shouldn't be able to. There's this thing called the Supremacy Clause, but what Biden is doing was not passed by Congress, so arguably it's not a law, it's just an executive order. But how much longer do you think the Republicans are going to be able to hold this up, pull this off? Killing their own people. And those who don't die, keep in mind, only about 1% die. But about a third of people who get COVID end up with dementia, which I suppose for Republicans is a big plus. It means they're even more likely to vote for Republicans because they can't, logically, their logical thought process don't work. How do we educate America about this? I think, frankly, the most effective way we could do this, because Jair Bolsonaro is running the same strategy down in Brazil. Push people back into the economy. Who cares how many people die? And the Brazilian Senate just issued a 1,200-page summary of their charges against Bolsonaro for mass murder. I think Democrats need to get out ahead of this. I think that Merrick Garland needs to appoint a special prosecutor or whatever it's called these days. I think Congress needs to appoint, Nancy Pelosi right now needs to appoint a select House committee, and Chuck Schumer needs to appoint a select Senate committee with full subpoena power to look into the decisions, particularly the decisions that were made around April 7th of 2020. April 7th was the day that the entire Trump administration and the entire right-wing media outlet universe turned on a dime. Literally turned on a dime. Well, not literally, metaphorically turned on a dime. You'll recall in March, Trump shut the economy down. We got to get this virus under control. In March, Jared Kushner had cut a deal with Louis DeJoy to mail 5 masks to every family in America. They were going to do the right thing. And then on April 7th of 2020, a year and a half ago, on April 7th, the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, all of them, their lead story on April 7th was this new study that was published by the federal government in collaboration with a research institution that found that black people were dying at disproportionately high rates of COVID compared to white people. And the next day, April 8th, Rush Limbaugh goes on the air and goes, oh, there's a racial component to this. And that following week, Tucker Carlson suddenly does a U-turn. Oh, wait a minute, maybe we don't need a mask. Maybe we don't need to be careful about this virus. And everything changed. And as a result, we lost our opportunity to save what, according to Deborah Birx, is hundreds of thousands of lives. She testified before Congress day before yesterday, and she said, I was constantly raising the alert in the doctors' meetings at the depth of my concern about Dr. Atlas's positions. Atlas was the chiropractor or whatever he was that was, actually I think he was actually more than a chiropractor, but whatever, who was running around going, yeah, we need herd immunity. By the way, he's denying now that he was pushing herd immunity, which is bizarre. And she said that she thought that, well, here's her exact quote. I believe if we had implemented the mask mandates, the reduction in indoor dining, the getting friends and family to understand the risk of gathering in private homes, and we had increased testing, that we probably could have decreased fatalities in the 30% less to 40% less range. Now, there were 500,000 people dead when Trump left office. If 40% fewer had died, that's about 200,000 people, if I'm doing the math in my head fast enough, or right. So why don't we charge him with mass murder? Wouldn't that be a great way to expose the Republican strategy? Actually charge Donald Trump and Scott Atlas and the people in the White House, and maybe some of these right-wingers out there who are pushing the idea that you shouldn't get vaccinated, to charge them with mass murder, or complicity in mass murder, or conspiracy for mass murder. And just blow up this whole death as a strategy thing. I really think this should be a campaign, frankly. I think the Democrats need to take this and run with it as hard and as fast as they can. Just like they're doing in Brazil with Bolsonaro.